Hello, everyone. Hope you can see me and hear me. My slightly uncombed hair. Anyway, very snowy on your parts, as I can see. Nice to see you all coming. There's a lot of people coming into the hall, so welcome. Welcome and good morning. If any of you is coming or showing up for the first time, well, warm welcome to you. If you're in the snow, warmer welcome to you. And here we are. Another week, another day, exploring your body, Buddha's body, with Catherine McGee, and a very light touch and smooth and gentle guidance. So let's dive into it. Just a couple of things about this new streaming platform. I'm sure most of you are getting acquainted with it. So, there's the chat box where you are greeting each other. That's the only place we have for meeting each other. So when you want to put your questions or your comments by the end of the session, just type the word question in capital letters and let your question flow so Catherine can see it and engage into it. And if you're willing to come on screen, well, you just have to click on the little hand on the bottom of your screen and I will bring you on. Hopefully and thankfully, this platform allows this ritual to be much more easy than it was. So please come on screen if you feel like it. And yes, Dana. That's the last thing I want to speak about. It's the only source we have. I don't know why my glasses are so. Maybe it's my head. My head is twisted, not the glasses. No, okay. Dana is the only thing we have in Sangha life to keep on thriving, and we are thriving and growing, and we want to be here for you as you know. I know that you want to be here for us. So if you feel or you can be generous, you can give whatever you can give on a regular basis, on a one-off, big or small amount, everything is welcome. Unfortunately, we don't have a Dana button on this platform, which makes it a little less easier. But there is the Dana link that I've already put on the stream, and I will put it again by the end. So just click on that and let your generosity flow. And also that let your presence and your practice flow, whether you give or not, which is the most important thing. Okay, so enjoy your session, enjoy your practice. Have a good day, have a good morning. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to take myself off and leave. Catherine, come in. Thank you.
Thank you, George. All right, I see. Thank you, George. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Just open my screen up a bit. There we go. Okay, dear Sangha, shall we practice? Let's come and practice. And I'll give a few reflections first. And then I'll guide us in from a slightly different angle this morning. And then we'll come to engage the question that I've offered these first 2 days very, very lightly. Okay. So I want to start with one of the questions I didn't answer yesterday. I'm going to read it to you just to think it's helpful for us to start this morning. It's from Ellie. I don't know if you're here, Ellie. Thank you for your question. Ellie said, "Hi, thank you for this beautiful practice. I love being here My question, is there a different distinction of body and mind in the Buddhist texts, different from Western? Because for me, whenever I address the body or my body, I feel as if I'm putting more distance to it than I or it wants. And they say, I know this comes from the Western distinction between mind and body, where the body is very far away from the self. My point is, I feel as if addressing my body as another entity, that feels estranging to me, further estranging to me. Thanks, they say. So thank you. Let's look at that estrangement. So broadly speaking, in the question in the Buddhist text, no, the distinction isn't made in that way that Westerners have inherited. The Buddha breaks things down into many different frames and different categories for discrimination so that we can investigate. But that particular body-mind split isn't there in that way. You do hear, so I'll give you one example just to give you some of that framework. You do hear things like the Buddha breaking things down into 3 kinds of patterning or 3 kinds of formations or the forming of things. And he has Vachi Sankara, Chitta Sankara, and Kaya Sankara. So he's talking about the Sankara is the programming, the way we're programmed, right? And that's what we're interested in, the habits that are not helpful, the way we're programmed that's not helpful. And Vachi Sankara, the programming, he calls the programming of our articulation, our speech. The Chitta Sankara of our sensitivity, this kind of heart sensitivity, but it's not, that category the way the Western mind would understand it. And Kaya Sankara, the body formation of shape and habit. And Vachi Sankara, articulation, there's no connotation at all that comes from the head. So our articulation, so the question that we're offering, that I'm offering, there's no notion that comes from the head and then is applied to a body, right? But we can usefully look at the articulation. We can discriminate it as a category to study, right? To see where we go with that. So I want to offer another image of how we could think of the question. And if you're new this morning, good morning. The question I have invited us to have as a very light support for the mind and way of orienting to the body is the question, once we're settled, how would you like to breathe right now, my love? Taking our hands off and allowing the body to respond in the way a body does, through sensation, through intimation, through movement, through breath. Yeah. The image I want to offer is one that is more actually within current neuroscience. I think this Western notion we've inherited of a body-mind split, which there's a lot that is said about that, has long roots. Actually, it's pre-Descartes, but where some of the current images in neuroscience are going, which I really love, is where the idea that let's say the question, take our question, how would you like to breathe, my love? That thought is initiates in deep in the body. All right. And one of the images given is like a spore. I'm not a great garden person, but a spore for a fern. So the seed that becomes a fern is a spore, like a little black disc, I think, that contains the possibility for the fern. And the proposition is that spore is deep in the body. The seed of that question, the seed of that thought, the seed of that articulation, deep in the body. And if we give it the conditions, then that spore can unfurl like a fern and unfurl and become a big fern. The proposition is that we tend only to see the curly bit at the top of the fern. We don't see the spore. We don't see the unfolding. We don't see the conditions that are supporting that question, that thought. So what that means for our question today is imagine, if you will, that they who are asking the question, the asking of the question isn't coming from up here so much. There'll be the little flourish at the top, the words, we might see the words, and that's fine, of course. But imagine, if you will, that question to the body, that addressing the body, that respectful approach to the body, the sincere curiosity, how would you like to breathe, my love? That is seated deep in the body, that question. And we give room to that spore. And therefore, then the question can come from, in, and with, and through the body. The body, we could say, asking themselves, right? How would you like to breathe right now, my love? So I offer that as a response to the question, Ellie. I hope that's helpful. And you can see if it is indeed the question, or the fact of question that is further estranging you, or if we need to ask the question from a different place, loosen the assumption that the sort of control box is up here, so to speak. Sometimes, when we have practices that come closer to the body, it will reveal to us the habits we have, the habitual way we approach the body. And that's good news. And then we can do something about it. Okay. After a week of practicing with this, when we've sincerely looked into working with a question in this way, then we can assess for ourselves, is there more there? Is it going to be onward leading for practice for me? So thanks a lot for that question, Ellie. So our three orientations, the approach to the body, which includes what view of the body, what is a body? How are we approaching this? Approach, engagement with the question, and waiting for the body. So I add one more piece to our view of the body to counter what is a long history, and not only in the Western tradition actually, of what some authors call antibodies, where the body is really seen as at best secondary or less important than the intellect, and at worst subjugated, pushed down, risen above, extracted from, treated badly, poorly, let alone as a seat of awakening. So there's different ways that will have been an inheritance that isn't just for us personally, that has knock-ons in our relationship with all bodies, all forms, all of matter, of earth. So I want to offer an approach to the body this morning from the Buddhist tradition, from Tsongkhapa in the Tibetan tradition. And he says, and I offer this for your contemplation. So see if you let your body hear his words. So I invite you to take your seat right now of practice and let this verse be spoken to your body. So we've had body as intelligent partner. We can cultivate that. Body as the origin and the seat of awakening. And today, the human body at peace with itself is more precious than the rarest gem. The human body at peace with itself, is more precious than the rarest gem. Cherish your body. It is yours this time only. The human body is one, W-O-N, the human body is one with difficulty, and it is easy to lose. All worldly things are brief, like lightning in the sky. And this life you must know as the tiny splash of a raindrop, a thing of beauty that disappears even as it comes into being. Therefore, set your goal, make use of every day and night to achieve it. Cherish this body. It is yours this one time only. How would you come to the meditation this morning with the body, knowing that we don't know, we never know if this will be the last time we have a chance to be conscious and attentive with this human form, this potential seat of awakening, this extraordinary mystery. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it decays, grows old, and ceases. And yet while we're here, we have a chance, not only for the healing, yes, the healing of our split of mind and body and the beauty of that, but we have an opportunity for knowing deeper the mystery of things that can reduce and end suffering. Okay, so I will guide us in this morning. And to let you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to guide us from a wide angle. Sometimes for many of us, coming close to the body can feel fraught at first. And somebody mentioned that on the first day in the comments, kind of feels anxiety provoking. And there's many, many reasons for that, which I won't go into now. And it can be absolutely healed. I know that for myself. It was very, very, very hard to approach the body. It would kind of ping away if I ever came too close with attention, with breath. And that was a necessary thing for a long time. But that can be worked with. But in the support of that, we don't want to put more pressure on. And one of the ways we can approach is from really, really the vast openness of the sky, the vast openness of awareness. And within that, we can allow the body to be known, to be sensed, to be felt, be allowed to breathe. And we can imagine then from there the question coming from the spore deep inside our body, or from the spores in the earth, or from the spores in the sky. The point is, what ways of paying attention to the body allow this body to come to be at peace with itself, right? The proposition of samatha, of steadying, and of awakening. The project of steadying is what ways of paying attention to this body allow it to settle, allow it to be nourished and harmonized with attention, that our attention could fill this whole arena. So as I guide us in, a very light touch, but a steady touch. And if, as you're practicing lightly with the question, you notice, oh yeah, I'm sort of getting more here, I'm filling out. Something is plumping out, there's more presence. Let yourself enjoy that. Sense the dignity in that, the harmonization in that. Yeah, okay. So, dear Sangha, before you close your eyes, just open your imagination to all of us. We're 132. Open your heart's imagination to us sitting in many, many different countries together at this time, together. Like there's a wide sense, like the sense of a whole group here. Just let your body breathe there. Nothing you need to pay attention to in the body. Just let her breathe. Let them breathe. And just a little bit wider still to the sky which I know is snowing in some places in the UK today. Just really imagine this open sky that you can be contiguous with. You can be kind of like there's a open current between you and the open sky. And it can be helpful sometimes to open the eyes. Don't let them be too focused. Let them be soft. Let them be wide, not focusing on something in particular. The way that I understand, skilled animal herders may have a herd of hundreds, and they can open their attention to the whole of the herd and wider, and they'll know who's missing without focusing tightly. And if your body enjoys to stretch open, because in this coming close to the body, we do not want to kind of squeeze ourselves into this little box, right? So a big stretch, if you wish. There's something very natural, actually, about us human beings. Something very natural about taking our seat. Something very natural about cherishing this body. And from this wide angle then, ask your body if they would like you to come a little closer. They may not. Would you like me to come a little closer in? May I? Maybe a little bit. My body's saying maybe a little bit. Yeah. And from whatever vantage point feels good to you and your body. Taking your seat, feeling your weight on the seat. Letting the hands be soft. You can even ask the body, would you like me to ask you a question? So that this dialogue with the body, excuse me, is respectful. And we also waiting for the felt sense, waiting for the response in breath, a sensation. The body's response is not so chiseled and self-declarative as thought. We can learn to wait, to cherish, to value. As you breathe in, as you breathe out. So from wherever the question wants to come this morning, let it be asked beautifully, elegantly. Maybe from the deep spore in your unfathomable depths. Marvel at the asking of the question. How would you like to breathe right now, my love? And I will wait for you. And I will humbly learn from you how to approach, how to ask, how to cherish. There is something natural about taking your seat and allowing the body our body, your precious human body, to be filled with bright attention, filled with loving attention. And if you would like to experiment, if it feels like it's the moment, you can play with imagining this spore deep, deep, deep in the body. The spore of this question. The spore of asking beautiful questions. The spore of respect. The spore that can approach this body in ways that allow us to settle. And if you wish, imagine that spore unfurling itself, putting down its roots and unfurling its fern-like nature through the body and the heart and the arms and the legs, with a flourish of the frond at the top. How would you like to breathe right now, my love? And sense the response. The response to asking the question. The response with the breath, the response in the body, the response in the mind state, the mood, any responses. And as you're listening for the response to the asking, if you notice that you are filling out, you are arriving, you are settling, there is a settling happening, you can let the question be so quiet, receding into the background. Just letting it pulse at times if it's helpful. And you can sense the whole body sitting. You can sense perhaps the quality of the presence that's here. Maybe it's very gently alive or tingling or sure, pulsing. You know there is a body here without just the idea. Right? You know it from being it. You know it from the inside. This plump, alive, simple presence. It has a texture. And within all of that, there is indeed a breath, a breathing in. And a breathing out. And just before I ring the bell to end the sitting, I invite you, if you wish, to not quite yet open your eyes, if you have them closed, to do a little exercise. I'm going to invite you to slowly open the eyes, as if from deep in the body, as if the spore, the idea to open your eyes comes from deep, deep, deep in the body. And let them really slowly open. See if you can stay connected with your body in any way whatsoever, maybe your weight on the seat, or maybe an energetic sense of the body. And if you wish, as the eyes come to softly open, let them not look out, but let the sights of your screen or your room come to you. Let the sight come to you, that the impression of the world, of your desk or your plant or your cat or me or the image of Kuan Yin behind me, that they come to you. You don't have to go out to them. And if you are looking at the image of Kuan Yin, this is the posture of royal ease that they are taking. And this is their meditative posture of royal ease, from where they can hear the cries of the world, be intimate with them, respond to them, but without defining themselves by those cries. And you can see with their body, the posture is key in that poise of compassion. They're not leaning too far forward, but neither have they disappeared out of the world. Thank you for practicing together. So please offer any questions, comments in the chat. Really keen to hear your questions and see where this theme is landing for you. And if you're willing to come on, you can write that. And any comments, how was that for you? What's salient for you? What's important for you? You know, where is it onward leading for you? Maybe you don't have a question. I think there's some being written right now. I was going to let you know. This question of the body and mind, kind of estrangement and the healing that's possible there. I really enjoyed a quote. Where is it? I've got it somewhere. From a British philosopher, Richard Rorty, quite famous. I think he's dead now. And he said something like, if the body had been easier to know, to understand, then no one would have thought up the category of mind, right? That's, you know, that there's something about the body that's so mysterious, and yet we can know it, not just know it anatomically, but know it through our attention, know it through deep, deep, deep relationship. So, Ines, it says question. Oh, does that mean you're coming on, Ines? You haven't written the question. Is that what that means? Yeah, please write your comments in the chat as well. It's really helpful for me because then it can inform me for tomorrow. Ines, are you coming on? Is that a question to ask out loud? Yeah, I'm also very curious to find out what was helpful for you, what you found, what you experimented with. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah. So I'm going to read, it's not a question, but a comment. My body didn't seem to like the question. He has been in survival mode too long. Yeah. So I'm sitting with this. He's angry. Thank you. And it sounds like you have what you need to work with that. But this is some of what will happen as we come closer to the body. We will sense the quality of the nervous system. And if we've been in survival mode, or to whatever extent we are in survival mode, we will sense this. And that will be, working with the emotional response and also coming a little further out. So we're not asking something, we're not putting any more pressure on. Happy to say more if that would be helpful. So there's no questions this morning. Am I reading that right? I'll read the comments. I felt that my body didn't trust me not to force it to do something. Yeah. I had to just hold it very lightly with kindness and just wait. Let it respond in its own time. And maybe not even today. Yes, beautiful. Taking the long view. It feels like building up trust with a new cat. Exactly. So I think that's it with whether it's our survival mode or the way that culturally or in any way habitually we have been relating to the body. Often, it will show, we will be shown of like, wait, back off a bit. Sometimes we might approach meditation in many different ways. We may come in really, really fast and really strong and never even think of the possibility of a heartful, kind relationship, in which case, at some point along the line, we will be asked for that. But that's a really nice image, actually, the approach to a new cat or a wild creature, or a wild creature that we would approach with respect. I'm not saying a wild one that's going to bite you, but a wild one that we don't know. We don't know their domain. We don't assume we know. We don't assume they're ours. Yeah. Let's see. Reflection. That was delightful. My body's answer was to want and experience a deep calm leading to lightness, inner laughter and dancing. It was a joy. Beautiful. So that, if I'm hearing you right, that wasn't just a cognitive answer. It was an answer through showing you itself in that way. It's beautiful. Question. Is it okay to ask what you have learned through the process of waiting for the body to respond? I'm wondering about how to access the depths of practice. Yeah, great. Thank you, Lisa. I can pick that up a little bit, the trajectory for me tomorrow. Are you here tomorrow? And then I'll share more about it. Can you put the cherish the body quote into the chat? I can try, or I'd have to, or if you look up, let me see if I can do that easily. I'll do it at the end. Let me take the other questions and then I'll do it at the end. So, have I missed any? Question from Anthea. Oh, the cherish the body quote comes from Tsongkhapa. He's from the Tibetan tradition. I don't know, 12th century, 13th century? I'm not sure. I'll pop that up at the end. Okay, so not really a question, but more a response to the expansive start to the sit. When I asked my body the question, how would you like to breathe? From the seed, deep within, I felt my breath coming from the outside, from the universe. Yeah, just learning how to scroll as the chat keeps pinging up. From all of you, dear Sangha members. And then the out-breath was connecting my inner seed to the whole of the universe. So yeah, so that there's enough imagination in a sense, as well as felt sense, to allow the body to settle, and in that case to be really connected. Beautiful. Thanks, Ines. Okay. Question. Buddha gave guidance to lay people on how to live. Did this contain teachings on integrating the body and mind? Yeah, really sorry about this. It's the chat keeps picking up, so I'll have to figure out a way of cutting them and pasting them maybe. Or can the Eightfold Path support this reunion? Yeah, thank you. So he didn't give teachings on integrating the body and mind because he didn't start from a premise where they weren't integrated. You know, if you think about it, he's from an agrarian people, like deeply land-based people. Not idealizing him. They have other issues of their times, absolutely. So yes, it is possible to integrate those through the Eightfold Path. And we need to see what is some of the dukkha or the suffering or the inheritances that maybe he didn't have. You know, if you think of the era that he is in, 500 before the current era, you know, that's just the kind of beginning in a number of cultures of the shift away from our really deeply body-based, land-based orientation. So yeah, yes, the Eightfold Path can be, and we need to intelligently come and recognize, oh yeah, we have this peculiar gulf as well. Okay, so it's 8 o'clock, so I'm going to close. The questions I'll pick up and bring up tomorrow. And yeah, enjoy your practice day, dear Sangha. I'll wait on and read the chat a little bit more, but have a great day. And if it's helpful to approach the body in any way whatsoever, find out what works for you, what doesn't work, what can you linger with that your body allows you to make good relationship with. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.